Thank you so much. Is this my clock? Is this the clock? It says 4 minutes.
Well, you can go for 15. That's the plan.
Thank you. So I'm Amy Bills, Customer Marketing Director for Blackbaud. And I want to say right off the bat, Michael Beam, who is the manager and really the engine behind our Blackbaud Champions Advocate program, was supposed to be with me here today. We're all very heartbroken he was not able to attend. Michael has 2 children under 5, which means at any moment at least 50% of his house is ill, and it was Michael's turn. So he again, heartbreaking, but I want to make sure that we give him props in this. He really has been the engine and is the kind of person who figured out what we were doing, embraced it, ran with it, and has infused it with such creativity. And I wish you were here, but I'm going to do my best. Do I need a clicker, or are they just being advanced?
I think on the table, maybe?
All right. So we, when we began talking with Influitive about our AMP talk, our immediate impulse was to talk about how we launched the Blackbaud Champions program and how excited we were about the results. We wanted to brag. We are so proud of what we've been able to do in a relatively short amount of time. We're really proud of our customers, and it's just been a very exciting experience. But then we got honest with ourselves and realized it might also be interesting and contain some teachable moments for us to share not how we got from 0 to 100, but how we got from negative 100 to 0. We put in about a year's worth of work, most of it looking like that, over on the right there, to build the foundation and get the buy-in and get the funding and get everyone equally excited about what we were about to do. And now, as we continue to move forward, we are really realizing how much that has paid off and how much we've really set ourselves up for long-term success. So we went against our impulse to brag, and we'll share a little bit about how we set the foundation. So a little bit about Blackbaud. I don't know why that photo is. That's not meant to be ominous. That there was a photo there. So maybe one more. Nope. Blackbaud provides software and services to nonprofits. We have about 30,000 customers. We are the leader in our space, and almost everyone in the nonprofit world either uses Blackbaud or at least knows Blackbaud's products. The Razor's Edge is our marquee product and is used by many, many organizations for their constituent relationships, their fundraising, their volunteer management, all of the things that nonprofits need to do. We also help power the accounting offices of nonprofits, help them have an online presence. All of the things that nonprofit organizations need to do to accomplish their missions are can be powered by Blackbaud. We have large customers, Susan G. Komen Foundation, anyone who's raced for the cure knows what that is, ALS, the Ice Bucket people, all the way down to Ronald McDonald House YMCA, all the way down to 2 people in their kitchen who decided one day that they really wanted to create an organization that gave families with a child in a neonatal ICU some relief. So large, small, everything in between, schools, cultural organizations, and all of that. Our customers, by nature, are very passionate. Most people don't work for nonprofits because there's an IPO coming. They are not in it for the money. It would be nuts to be in that for the money. They're in it because they're passionate. A lot of times it's a personal connection. They work for friends of kids with cancer because a niece had cancer and they saw that experience. So it's very personal for them. By their nature, they're engaged. They like community. They like to talk. They like to share. That's a very good foundation to build an advocate marketing program on. So I came to Blackbaud in May of 2013. And what we had at that time was sort of a V1 of an advocate program. We called it Fan Club, which even the originators of that name, I don't think were huge fans of it. It always made me feel very, Fan Club to me is like the people who want Justin Bieber's autograph, not the people who are advocating. But it is what it is, and it was very solid. It was about 1,600 people. We didn't give them a lot to do. So that's not great. This is a very highly engaged, willing to talk, excited and passionate group. And mostly, for the most part, we could put them on a reference call. Once in a while, they referred business to us, and we gave them some swag at our customer conference. So here is this like gold mine that we weren't really leveraging, and we were doing them a disservice because we didn't really give them a lot of ways to engage. We didn't give them a lot of ways that we could help them build their own personal and professional brand. We didn't give them a lot of things to share. And kind of back to Jill's point, if they wanted to share content, we sort of made it hard for them. We just didn't make it as easy as we could have. That was really looking at it as an opportunity, not a challenge. Part of our perfect storm. We had a really good foundation of customers, and we had this fan club, so they were accustomed to the idea of being in some kind of organized advocate program. We had a company that was ready for change. We have a new CEO who's been on board at Blackbaud for about a year and has definitely proven himself to be interested in bringing on new technologies, bringing on new ways of thinking. We also had marketing management, same deal. So that's good. Ready for change, willing to experiment. We were able then to do three main things. We did a lot of things in that wiggly success diagram, but there were three main things that we did that I think were most helpful in us getting from -60 to 100, right? Getting to the point where we could truly launch our Blackbaud Champions program, which we did 1 year and 1 week after my start date at Blackbaud. Almost to the hour. There's got to be something in there. So we did three things. First, we did a lot of internal education. A lot. We had to answer thoughtful questions about, does this make sense? What kind of resources should we dedicate this? We had to answer what I felt were sort of basic questions, but that's okay. What is advocate marketing? Once in a while, we sort of had to answer these like existential questions. Why do people like, games? So some of this was beyond my jurisdiction, psychological, but we did the best we could. We talked to everyone who we thought could even potentially have either A, skin in the game in helping us build this, or B, the potential to get in the way of it for some reason. I knew from my previous experience that this was the right thing for Blackbaud to do and that we had that perfect storm. So I did not want people to get in the way of that. I knew it was the right thing to do. So we talked in person with almost every single sales team. We went to sales team meetings to get the reps on board with the idea that we would be creating a different system than they were used to, not only for advocate marketing, but really we simultaneously made some changes to our reference program as well. We really wanted them on board, and we also wanted them to understand how cool this would be for their customers. We talked to support, the people on the front lines who could actually be some of our greatest finders of potential advocates. That's a great time to ask someone to be part of Blackbaud Champions when they've just had an annoying support problem solved. We talked to the customer success people. We obviously briefed all of our marketing team to make sure that everyone really understood what we were doing. We sold it to executives with a combination of carrot and stick. So we brought in numbers, whatever it took for that particular audience. We're marketers, so we calibrated the message to whoever we were talking to. If they needed to hear about how this would have an impact on numbers, we shared some of that story with them. If they needed to hear that all of the most successful companies were doing this, I'm not too proud to bring that into the mix as well. We wanted that buy-in, not only for the funding, but so that everyone would feel great about this program when it took off. So we did a lot of education. We did months and months worth of education. This is so that's me sort of shocked when I got to Blackbaud that we were not doing more. It's probably a little bit more dramatic than I really was. The other thing we did was find some internal advocates, internal champions. That was part of the sales process, but there were particular reps that Michael visited with when he figured out that they were the fastest to act on a referred deal or the quickest to recommend that a customer join Blackbaud Champions. Michael was very, very attuned to what was going on. He watched very closely how quickly those deals moved. When we immediately began to have even just more flat-out referrals. All of these things. So we had things like a rep for ETAP, which is our sort of starter CRM, sort of conceded to Michael that most of his closed business for one of the quarters had come through Blackbaud Champions. And he was perfectly delighted with that. Why not? He was a smart guy who figured out that there was this channel coming in. So Michael would sort of leverage those internal champions, and other people would see that being successful, and we kind of, marketed our marketing internally. The third thing we did that came out very useful, and that we continue to do, is show ourselves to be willing to take a number. So we signed up for concrete goals. We committed to driving a certain number of referrals. We committed to driving a certain number of, one of the big things that we were focused on was reviews, having reviews. And back to several of the buying journey points that have been made, we had to explain a couple times within our organization, a lot of times within our organization, how much of that buying decision was happening before anyone got to us. And we had for a company of our depth and prevalence, we had a disproportionate number of reviews of our software on the sites where we know our buyers were congregating. We knew that had to change, and we also knew that it was very worrisome to a lot of people. So we committed to that as well. We committed to harnessing our Blackbaud Champions appropriately when we saw fit and where they saw fit to write reviews on those sites. So there were a couple numbers that we committed to, and I think that gave us a lot of internal credibility. And so finally, I'm going to go to this one. This is the part we initially wanted to start with. We launched. I made a misstep in finding the right person, and that, as many missteps do, that turned into a blessing because we identified Michael, who absolutely embraced and loved this program. And Michael, in half a year, so we launched Blackbaud Champions in May, which was several months later than we thought, still made the numbers that we had committed to for the year. I was going to give him a pass if we didn't. That's kind of unfair. It was year-long numbers and he had half a year. Didn't need a pass, did it fine. So these are some of the numbers. We had 100 new product reviews. We have a large product portfolio, so that was across multiple products. $200,000 in pipeline from referrals. It was $13,000 the previous year. So that I can't even count that percentage increase. And over 500 new advocates as part of our Blackbaud Champions program. That does not count the people that we offered a pass over from fan clubs. So not counting the fan club people, many of whom subsequently became active because they thought that it was cool and fun and there was more stuff for them to do. So that was a huge increase. All of that stuff has set us up. We took bigger numbers for this year. We're looking at different goals, such as trying to connect our Blackbaud Champions, map our Blackbaud Champions to NPS scores. I would love to be able to demonstrate that as a whole, they're more satisfied. That is a very important metric within Blackbaud, so I know that it will resonate. Again, back to, we're trying to connect this program to the things that we already know resonate in our company. I would rather not have to fight a new fight if I could just fight an old fight. And back to this, so moving ahead, this is where Michael would have picked up this story. We are doing, of course, more challenges. We've gotten very creative with challenges. Michael has used our Blackbaud Champions to crowdsource content for a bunch of new programs. We have former, somewhat reticent sales management who is not totally convinced this is a great idea, now sending emails to their teams, encouraging them to make sure that their customers are on board. We just have these complete turnarounds, and we will just be continuing to grow, find new ways to demonstrate value, and just make sure that our customers are having a very rewarding and fun and interesting experience, because many of them, given what they do every day and the actual life and death work that they're involved in, it's very humbling to work with them, and that we can create this experience that is fun and very rewarding for them in roles that are often not rewarding and can be very discouraging is just a very energizing total win for everybody. That's it.